Hey, retard. Oh, no. We got your corner, Tampon Timmy. Boom. You got nowhere to run. Oh, no. Want to tell us about the millions you funneled through those Minnesota daycare scams? But I dropped out, guys. It's all over. It ain't over till I say it's over. Yeah, Tim, we're just getting started, bro. Fake kids, the phantom staff payouts. It all leads right to your front door. Guys, I quit. I mean, you don't have to investigate me anymore. It's not that simple, Tim. Yeah, this wasn't just mismanagement. It was a betrayal to Minnesota. How much deeper does your involvement run, Tim? I don't know. I was just trying to help Minnesota. I don't think you're being honest with us, you retard. Yeah, we've tracked every penny. We found $250 million in federal cash that disappeared into your buddy's pockets. Look, I'm a knucklehead, all right? But I'm just a simple guy. I didn't know any of this was going on, I swear. You turned those fake daycares into your personal fucking ATM. Yeah, guess what else we found? Oh, no. Not the voting machine. You're not as retarded as I thought, Timmy. I can explain. Come on, what are you going to explain? How to use a tampon or the Dominion voting machines rig election? You're staring down a long barrel of corruption charges. We got a whole list of charges, Timmy boy. Yep, fraud, hell. We might even put racketeering in there. There's no escape now, you piece of shit. I swear it was just contributions. It was just business deals. I didn't grasp the whole picture. Bullshit. Did you think me capturing Maduro was all about oil? You don't think I know how you got elected and re-elected? It's a full-blown syndicate, Timmy. Venezuelan crude oil, greasing palms in Minnesota, those daycare rip-offs and hiding vote hacks. You twisted those kid programs into money pits. Tell me about the funds you siphoned. I don't know what you're talking about. The evidence is bulletproof, Timmy. Your empires are collapsing. This is a waste of taxpayer money. Waste of taxpayer money? Tim, you stole $9 billion from taxpayers, you jackass! Guys, I dropped out of the race. Please stop investigating me. The public is gonna see it all, Timmy. The tampered ballots and the swindled families. You quit the race won't save you this time, bozo. The word of the day is accountability. This can't be happening. I can't do prison. I'm ruined.
A few moments later.
Tell me about the Dominion voting machines. Oops.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for being at the United Spot YouTube Live, which is sponsored by the United Spot YouTube Live. For those of you that probably read the title, Tim Walz is scheduled to be arrested here very soon. Whether or not we're going to see a mugshot, whether or not we're going to see any kind of accountability other than, a political pretend arrest, to put at ease the minds of us peasants. Who knows? If they can arrest a former president, President Trump, I'm pretty sure they can, arrest a do-nothing governor who's, completely destroyed an entire state and, playing the dumb card like, oh, I didn't know. I don't know any better. I didn't know that was going on. I have no clue. And do not let your kids watch Miss Rachel. Serious. Done. Horrible. I don't talk about her at all. I've said a few things about her years ago. I kind of called it, maybe watch out for this one. She's doing videos with Zoran. So do not let she's done some pretty weird stuff. So just don't. For those of you who don't know, I made a brand new the Magna Bunch. First one I've ever done. I've done, and I was kind of kicking myself this morning. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Out of all these years, over 10 years making videos, almost 5,000, original content videos you've created here at the United Spot YouTube, and you've never made a Trump Brady Bunch? What the hell's the matter with you? And I also did All in the Clinton Family. So for those of you that don't know, those two brand new videos are out. And I really hope you guys can watch it. Meanwhile, Fraud in the USA, which is a parody of Born in the USA, it's got almost 10,000 views. So couldn't have done that without you guys. You guys are awesome. But let's get back to the topic at hand, because obviously a little bit of resistance, a little bit of anger in the streets, some violence, protesting, and Renee, and that's perfect formula if you want to make a word like fraud disappear. Ilhan Omar's saying horrible things about America again. But you know what? It's fine because Ilhan is a congresswoman, and she's just doing wonderful things, So here's the deal. A lot of people are upset. A lot of people are trying to understand how nothing's being done. Much like United Spot. Why did you put Pam Bondi in the MAGA Bunch video today? Well, I'm going to tell you why I put Pam Bondi in there. For that exact reason. So people could ask, why did you put Pam Bondi in the MAGA Bunch video? Well, there's a reason for it. So you would ask, why? Because believe it or not, there's a lot of people out there that still don't know that she hasn't done anything yet. Not a thing. Nothing. Like absolutely zilch. And don't be one of those people like, oh, come on, give her a chance. Come on. None of these people do anything. None of them. None of them. There's this politician. She's running off of all the words that peasants like to hear. I'm running through Jesus. I'm running for Jesus. I'm running for God. I'm running for America. I'm running for the red, white, and blue. Meanwhile, they get elected. They don't do a gosh darn thing. Nothing. But here we go. So it is scheduled for Tim Walz to be arrested here soon. I do want to send a special shout out to Yukon Man, who sent over an amazing gift last night. I know he was lurking. So if you're listening, Yukon Man, I thank you for that. That was extremely appreciated. And you've done so much, and it's very appreciated. So I just hope you understand that. And thank you for that. It means a lot. Teacher Lynn, I haven't seen you for a while. Hopefully you're doing okay. Hopefully Anna Poison's birthday party was great yesterday. We got Frank Smith here. Ellen Pelkey, great to see you here. George Henderson and Tammy, always great to see you here with Grim, Ben, and LR. Great to see LR in the guy. And Star is here. That's amazing. Thank you, Star, for being here. Icy Dawn, John Castaneda, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. Hank, Anita Green, great to see you here too, by the way. Irish Rover, great to see you here. LR, always great to see you here. George, and who else we got here? We got Hank, and we got D. Sprague, and we got Pryor all the way here. Brian 70 Kuda, and we've got Brian Magnifici. I don't know how to. I've never really learned how to read. Jeffrey Smith is here with Skippy Tarbuckle coming in first, and Craig Clark, thank you so much for the great comments. And Cliff Hance. And before I lose anybody else, because believe it or not, this was the biggest night that I had on a live here in a long time. I think the most I ever had was, maybe over 1,000 or something like that. Tonight I had like 100 something, and then now it's back to 60 because I opened my mouth. As soon as I start talking, people take off. John Norris is here, and it's awesome. I really appreciate it. So anybody lurking tonight, Teacher Lynn, Yukon Man, Annette Poison, Robbins. Thank you all so much. For being into a little bit mulch. But let's watch this video about Tim Walz.
Hello, peasants. I'm the drinker of the house, and I'm here to tell you about the future of Minnesota childcare. Welcome to the Quality Learning Center. So like 6 years ago, I was just like a bartender who graduated with like honors from the Quality Learning Center. And like now, I'm a congresswoman who can like totally count all the way to 11. At Quality Learning Center, your unborn kids get the care that they deserve. Here in Minnesota, our motto is, why wait until your kids are born? Sign them up for an education today. Hey, retard. Oh, no. We got your corner tampon, Timmy. Boom. You got nowhere to run. Oh, no. Want to tell us about the millions you funneled through those Minnesota daycare scams? But I dropped out, guys. It's all over. It ain't over till I say it's over. Yeah, Tim, we're just getting started, bro. Fake kids, the phantom staff payouts. It all leads right to your front door. Guys, I quit. I mean, you don't have to investigate me anymore. It's not that simple, Tim. Yeah, this wasn't just mismanagement. It was a betrayal to Minnesota. How much deeper does your involvement run? Thanks for calling the White House. How can I help you? Yeah, I need to speak with President Trump. Who is it? Defrauded governor on line 1, boss. This is Trump. Who's this? Hello, Mr. President. It's Tim Walz. Tampon Tim. What do you want, you f***ing retard? Well, I heard you were going to arrest me. Is that true? Nah, we're not going to arrest you. Oh, thank God. Yeah, arresting you would be a big waste of time, Timmy boy. A big waste of time because I'm above the law, right? Exactly. That's why we're just gonna humiliate you. You're gonna humiliate me? Oh, yeah. Well, how are you gonna do that? You wanna tell him, Cash? First, we're gonna take away your mansion. What? Then we're gonna drain your bank account. No, not my bank account. And last but not least, I'm gonna make sure you never run for office again. Boom! What? I'm not gonna let you turn Minnesota into Scamolia. Please give me another chance. You want another chance? Yeah, please. Hey, you guys see the news? No what? Oh, man. Trump's FBI is surging forensic accountants into Minnesota. There's going to be data teams everywhere. I'm not worried about it. Trump's just having another tantrum. He's so mad he can't touch us. Exactly. And I took care of that fraud years ago. The second I noticed anything fraudulent with those daycares, boom! I shut him down. My team handled it. Fraud? What fraud? I cleaned it up before that plagiarist wannabe YouTube journalist Nick Shirley even showed up. Yeah, and that poser went to those daycares before they even opened. He thinks he's Sherlock Holmes. And CNN covered that story last year. And a half a dozen other networks covered it too. Trump is just recycling lies to make us all look bad. Too bad, Trump. And now they're saying the FBI is linking elected officials to terrorists. That criminal Trump must be really upset. Yeah. And he says he has direct links to it. Trump and his FBI goons buried those investigations. In the shadows of the North Star State, a chilling tale unfolds. Minnesota. Once a beacon of Midwestern promise, now gripped by an insidious web of deception. Billions vanishing into the night, stolen from the very programs meant to feed hungry children and aid the vulnerable. The Feeding Our Future scandal. Nearly 250 million siphoned through fake invoices and phantom daycares. Empty buildings claiming millions in taxpayer dollars while no child crosses their thresholds. And it doesn't stop there. Autism services, housing aid, Medicaid, up to $9 billion gone. Funneled. Luxury cars, overseas accounts, perhaps even darker forces. At the helms stands Governor Tim Walz, whose administration oversaw this explosion of fraud since 2019. Lacks oversight. Ignored warnings, federal loopholes exploited under his watch. He vows crackdowns now, but the damage is done. Mistakes he admits, yet the rot spread unchecked. In the heart of it all, Representative Ilhan Omar, voice of Minnesota's 5th district, home to the nation's largest small community. All right, everybody, I'm gonna need you to stay calm. Cash Patel is asking questions, but don't worry. He's not going to do anything. Cash, you don't talk. I've been in politics for 38 years. And questions always lead to audits. And audits always lead to prison. Well, what are we going to do? We can hire Justice Smollett. It was a cold Minnesota morning. I was taking my fake children to that daycare facility. A licensed community-approved grant-supported daycare. And that's when I was attacked by Nick Shirley. He put documents on the ground and handed me receipts and timelines and enrollment records. Things no human should have to see in public. And the worst of it all, he left the evidence there for everyone to read. Then he looked me in the eye and said, "Get out of here. This is fraud country." Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work out. Yeah, why don't you go sit the next couple of plays out, Kamala? At Quality Leering Center, this is what success looks like. I've created advanced efficiency, and I'm making Minnesota great. One imaginary child at a time. No snacks, no tantrums, no problem. Quality Leering Center is helping our community thrive by keeping things discreet. Your tax dollars are going to important causes. Quiet buildings, unanswered phones, and dreams of what could be. We're building a brighter future for Somalia. Here at Quality Leary Center, your imaginary kids won't have to worry about things like washing their heads. Because we ain't got no kids up in here. I totally love Somalia. I just wish I was from Somalia. I want to turn Minneapolis into Somalia. And we have a perfect safety record. No fights, no lights, no lawsuits. Hell, we don't even have crayons.
We got robbed last night. They took everything. But they didn't take the children. Ah!
And those nosy parents start asking questions? It's because I pledge allegiance to the Somalian flag from the United States of Minnesota and to my Somalian president, wherever you stand, more daycares, under fraud, clearly visible, with bribery and corruption for all.
So here we are. Tim Walz will be arrested here soon. And I'm going to go into detail about it if you guys want to listen. I would like to invite you to spend a little time on the United Spot YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know, the United Spot does funny videos, but when you really look at them, they're actually real in a comedy sense. I take realistic headlines, I take realistic corruption and crime and lies, and I expose them with humor. So what you're watching may seem funny because I've reworded a few things, or I've made things sound different, or I've used a voice for people like Nancy Pelosi in a way that kind of makes you giggle. But when you watch the videos, you have to understand it's all legitimately real. It's me exposing the left for the crimes they've committed. And it's not something that just started. I know a lot of people just started following politics, a year ago, 5, 6, 8 years ago. And they're starting to find out how realistic, their once respected politicians, they're not so respected anymore because nothing's being done. But Tim Walz, once upon a time in a faraway land called Minnesota, there lived a jolly governor named Tim Walz. He had a big smile, loved talking about football, and he wore flannel shirts like a friendly uncle at a barbecue. Everyone called him Coach because he used to teach kids, and he promised to make life better for families with free school lunches and lots of help for the little ones. But one day, whispers started spreading through the kingdom like wind through the tall cornfields. People said Tim had told some tall tales when he was younger. First, there was a story about his adventures in the army. And this is going back, obviously, to when he, did his little debut trying to run for vice president with the Kamala. Tim said he carried big weapons in war, and he was almost a super sergeant, But brave soldiers who served with him shook their heads and said, wait. Tim stayed safe and far from the battles. I mean, he left before his friends went to the sandy places. And if you don't know what the sandy places are, you might want to look that one up. Some even called it stolen valor. Like borrowing a medal you didn't really earn, or getting a trophy you didn't really deserve. And then Tim goes, oops, sorry, yeah, I misspoke. But the whispers, they grew louder, which is a good thing. And that's why you got to love free speech. But then came the tale of far off China. And see, a lot of people aren't really concentrating on this anymore because, they're talking about Renee, because this is a great cover. It's like the George Floyd thing. Or 9/11 with the Pentagon and all those trillions of dollars that just went missing, But here's the thing. People only concentrated on fraud. There were other things at play that never he was never held accountable for. And it's something that people need to look at, because the brain span on a typical peasant, okay, and that's usually around 80 to 90% of the population of peasants. We're all peasants. We have a very short set of skills when it comes to concentrating on one particular distraction at a time. So there's a huge laundry list with Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar, but there's only certain things that people focus on all at one time, and then they switch to something else. And it's brilliant. I give it to them. It's brilliant. Then came the tale of well, I guess I was talking about that, the far off China, where Tim told everyone he was right there in the big city during a very sad and scary time when brave people stood up for freedom. You know, he says, "I was in Hong Kong." That's what he said. Not kidding. But maps and calendars show he arrived months later. Another lie from a politician. Imagine that. And after the trouble was over, just a little mix up. Tim shrugged it off. You know, like, come on, folks. I wondered why he kept repeating it. You know, and it's like everything with these politicians. Oh, I screwed up. I'm sorry, I misspoke. If he would have never got called out on it, well, you know, come on, it would have just been another day in Hollywood. And the baby story. Tim and his wife Gwen shared how hard it was to have children. He said they used a special magic elixir called IVF to bring their little ones into the world. But people felt sorry and cheered for him. But later, you know, Gwen, you know, who turned the page. She loves the smell of burning tires in the morning. Gwen quietly said, actually, it was a different kind of hell, not IVF. And then Tim's face turned red. He was embarrassed because yet another lie had been uncovered. And then Tim says, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It was just my mistake again." He mumbled it, you know. But some felt, well, most people felt tricked. I don't know anybody who. I feel sorry for anybody that takes this guy seriously. But he, you know, a lot of people felt tricked, especially when he used the story to win arguments. Seriously, like, you know. And then obviously years passed and bigger troubles arrived in the kingdom's treasure chest, you know, meant for feeding hungry children. Here we are today, helping families. But here's the thing. This fraud has been going on for many, many years. It's nothing new. And this has been my argument now for the last 3-4 weeks since that first story broke with Nick Shirley, is that this story's been out for years, like years, tons of years, but nobody's ever pushed it on social media. That's where I fall into the play of being upset, because you can't put, that's like you know, like Michael Jackson or Prince or George Michael or you know, another famous, you know, singer singing and nobody ever heard their music. And then all of a sudden some guy by the name of John Billy Goats sings all their songs on a tape, and one of his friends has 1 billion followers on social media, and he shares it and he becomes an overnight sensation. But he didn't make that music. Somebody else did. So, and that's the thing with Nick Shirley. They're putting him on a pedestal. Now, I'm not downing Nick Shirley. I don't care. I don't trust journalists to begin with. But you know, he's obviously out in the trenches, you know, doing whatever. But he didn't bring that story to anybody. Elon Musk brought the story to everybody because he shared it out. And once Elon shared it out, then the world shared it out. So here's my problem with it. The story had been done over a dozen times. Congressmen, senators, news reporters, independent journalists for years. Nobody ever shared it. What upsets me is that people could have shared it. People could have shared it lots of times. Nobody ever shared it. Why is it now important to share it when it could have been shared 10 years ago? That's where I fall into play. Never mind the giving props to the people who actually investigated it first, or, you know, blah, blah, blah. What, I don't care about that. It's about who shared it when it should have been shared to begin with. It should have been shared years ago. Tim Walz should have stepped down years ago. He would have never even been Kamala's little running mate. So the years passed, and the kingdom's treasure chest, you know, meant for feeding hungry children, But there's the problem there because, the helping families with daycare and caring for those who needed it, strange things happened. Strange things, money vanished. And I'm not just talking about a little money. I'm not talking about, a little couple 100,000. I'm talking lots of it, like billions. Billions. For those of you who don't know how big $1 billion is, okay? A lot of people think $1 million is a lot of money, right? Well, if you take $1 million and put it next to $1 billion, they've done it with rice. They've done it with rice. And it's extremely insane because I've always been very low IQ when it comes to the differences of money and how greatly different it is $1 million versus $1 billion. It's insane the amount that's different from $1 billion to $1 million. So billions have gone missing. Nonprofits that promised to feed thousands of kids turned out to have empty rooms. and the crazy thing is they had fancy cars, though. No kids in their classrooms, but they had fancy cars. And investigators found lots of kickbacks and trips to far places, and maybe even coins were sent where they shouldn't have been sent. But, Tim was the king of the castle. If anybody hasn't seen the governor's mansion, it's pretty insane. It's pretty awesome. And they handed the keys to this guy who doesn't even know what the heck he's doing. The guy's got the common sense of Corky, You guys know who Corky is. But why wasn't it stopped sooner? Why did the bad guys keep taking money? Huh? And this brings me to my point. Why wasn't it stopped sooner? Why now? Why all of a sudden? I mean, everybody got rich. Everybody, obviously, and they're not even just stealing they're not stealing from the government. They're stealing from taxpayers. Why did the bad guys keep taking money? And Tim said he was trying. But like I said, the story had been out for years and years and years. Tim didn't do anything. He didn't do anything because people were still driving around in fancy cars, nice houses, going on luxurious trips, money in their pocket, walking around in gold suits. Tim said that he hired helpers and he blamed others for playing politics. Like, I mean, why would you play politics when billions of dollars are missing? Why would you even try to play politics? But the angry voices, they grew. And a lot of people were upset that this happened on Tim Walz's watch. There's a fraud everywhere. Everywhere there was fraud. Child care, Medicaid, welfare program. Republicans shouted for him to step down. So they say. Even some friends whispered that, obviously, come on, Tim, this is too much. You might want to step down. But and in the end, the peer pressure of it became a little too heavy, like a giant snowball rolling down a hill, And Tim was in the center of that bad boy. And Tim said, "Hey, look, I won't run again for governor, but I got another year, and I need to fix things instead of campaigning." So he gets his daughter who's down for the weekend. They get some chicken and some fries, and he does a little infomercial about the place that he was eating, hoping that everybody would see him for. He's just a normal guy. He's just a knucklehead. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just eating chicken strips and fries. He's a normal guy. So he says, "I'm not going to run again. I need to fix things instead of campaigning." So we waved goodbye to the big chair, but the investigations are still swirling like storm clouds. And there's talks of hearings and probes and even calls to resign, or even worse. He still hasn't resigned. And so in the land of 10,000 lakes, the jolly governor faded from the spotlight. But he's still talking. Doing his YouTube videos. He's all serious. Oh, man. My Minnesotians. Some remembered him fondly for his laughs and kindness. I cannot stand that guy. Like, literally. Like, if I were to see that guy, in a public place, I would get away from him because he's so annoying. He's like that guy, like just weird, very strange person. Um, Others shook their heads, all the stories that they heard. The stories grew way too tall, and the treasures that slipped away under his watch. But the moral of the story is kind of a little one. It's like from the. I mean, if you were raised by good people, if you had good parents, if you were lucky enough to keep your parents for a while, if you were lucky enough to have your grandparents with you, and aunts and uncles and friends and next door neighbors and teachers, and good circle, you were taught always tell the truth, regardless of the punishment. Take it on the chin. You do something wrong, accept it. Take the consequences like a man. A lot of people don't like to take consequences because they know what consequences are. And for Tim Walz, those consequences mean lack of money, lack of power, lack of the cool stuff, the power. But, in the end, stories, they have a way of catching up. And, I honestly, like I said, I'm a firm believer in these politicians. I don't want them to go to jail. That's not punishment. Because I'm telling you right now, these people will go to jail. We think they'd go to jail. They probably wouldn't. They just go right out the back door. Especially if they go to a federal prison, they're going to go to like some low security prison with tennis courts, massage tables, sun tanning, all just your regular 5-star resort. They'll do nickel a time, barely anything. Get out, they'll still be rich, and that's if they're actually doing time. Because I've come to believe that these little silly prison sentences are just open and going out the back door, and it just looks good for the camera, and then we forget, we get distracted again. My belief is, who cares about sending them to jail or prison? Take their money, drain their bank accounts, take away all their power, turn them back into regular peasants. That's the only way you can punish these people. Prison ain't gonna do it. Jail ain't gonna do it. A timeout in the corner ain't going to do it. They're still going to be rich. They're still going to be powerful. And they're still going to have their connections. Marjorie Taylor Greene's looking at $25 million. Ilhan Omar sitting on $30 million. Kamala Harris has got millions of dollars. Biden's got millions of dollars. Obama's got millions. Pelosi's got over $200 million. How do you do that? How do you do that? Well, I guess what we could do from this, what we can learn from this, is that if you ever want to be rich, if you want to ever have power, become a politician. Seems like it's pretty easy. All you got to do is lie. That's all you got to do is lie. That's it. That's all you got to do. So for those of you that don't know, this is the biggest video I have. Now, I've had to delete several videos in my time here. I've had several videos taken down that had over 1 million views. But as of right now, I have 3 videos. One has 900,000, one has 920,000, and one has 1.2 million. The rest of them, 700,000, 600,000, I got tons of videos, thousands of videos with over 100,000 views, which is great. So I'm not complaining. But this one right here, all in the Democratic family. This is a video I did 5 years ago. And today I reenacted that video and I changed the characters. And it has now just Bill and Hillary. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you get a chance, check it out. You might enjoy it.
Long before the MAGA days,
The Clintons used to pave the way. Democrats we had it made.
those were the days. Oh, okay, so explain this to me like I'm stupid.
That shouldn't be hard.
Well, why are Republicans mad this time?
Because Congress subpoenaed the Epstein flight records, and your name shows up like a frequent flyer card.
But I never went to the island.
You still flew with a convicted trafficker 26 times. That's context,
Well,
Bill.
no charges, no crime.
Neither was Paula Jones. It was just a sexual harassment lawsuit until you paid her $850,000 to disappear.
That was just a civil suit.
So was Monica until you lied under oath and got impeached on live television.
You told me to deny it, Hillary.
I didn't tell you to sleep with an intern in the Oval Office like it was a frat house, Bill.
And you didn't tell the truth about Benghazi either.
4 Americans died. I blamed the video to avoid admitting security failures. That's politics, Bill, not adultery.
Emails, private server. You stored classified info in your house.
And the FBI said no intent. Meanwhile, you use the FBI to pull files on political enemies. Remember Filegate, Bill?
That was staff incompetence.
Incompetence like Whitewater?
Oh.
A failed land deal we both swore wasn't corruption until billing records magically reappeared?
What about Vince Foster, Hill?
Don't you dare! My friend's death isn't your escape hatch, Bill!
Yeah, and his office got cleared before investigators arrived.
So did the DNC after Seth Rich leaked email!
You sound like the cable news at 2 a.m.
And you sound like Epstein's best friend!
Hey, my foundation built libraries.
And took foreign donations while I approved arms deals as Secretary of State! That's called pay to play!
At least I didn't bleach servers.
At least I didn't bleach dresses!
So, what's the plan? Explain this to America?
God, no! We call it a partisan witch hunt!
We can leak something about Trump
Yeah, we always distract with a bigger villain!
and appeal the contempt vote.
Delay prosecutions for years!
Let the public get bored.
Oh, they always do!
No more private planes.
No more private servers!
No more interns.
You're the reason that's on the list, Bill!
Long before the MAGA days,
The Clintons used to pave the way. Democrats we had it made.
those were the days.
I love that song. I love that song. Anybody that ever watched All in the Family, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So here today we got Grim Ben, great to see you. It's been a minute. Brian 70 Kutabara, Skippy's here with Humble Rumble. There we go. Thank you very much, and thank you for agreeing with me. I love it when people agree with me. Grim Ben, Joe Thanks, Jeffrey Smith, Drops Homestead. Great to see you here. Drops Homestead. John Castaneda is here with Tammy. Thank you guys so much. Chris Mathers as the Beaver. No PhD Coyote. And you guys are awesome. Joe Thanks is here with John Norris. That's awesome. LR is here. Thank you so much, LR. We got John Norris here. We got Kevin White. Max Meyer is here too as well. Thank you guys so much for being here. You guys are incredible. So let's do this here real quick. Let's go to, oh, look at that. Lives in the Hood. Hey, 90,000 views. Look at that. Things are happening, right? Huh? Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? I woke up one day, and I tell you what, and I want to say this here real quick for you guys, okay? Because there's been several days where I said, you know what, man, this is stupid. What am I doing here? Nobody likes my videos any, and I was really thinking like, oh, something's wrong, maybe my videos just aren't great. Maybe people were just being nice to me, and then all of a sudden, like all these other people were uploading my videos and they were getting like millions of views and thousands of comments, and everything was just like, oh my gosh, I needed this today. This is hilarious. Oh my gosh, who did this? And blah, blah, blah. And of course, nobody knew, because nobody ever looks at the timestamp on it. Nobody ever looks at the logo. But honestly, that wasn't even the point. My point was YouTube really made me believe that my videos were garbage. They played a huge mental game with me. And I would seriously wake up like, man, I've done so much work creating all this. And they rewarded me with failure, And so I'm just so thankful for all of you who never gave up on the United Spot, who never gave up on me and just continued to pump me up and inspire me and tell me never to quit. Because without you guys, I don't know if I would have been able to keep pushing on. You know, and I mean, you know, obviously it's this isn't just about the money. Obviously, I didn't do this. I didn't start doing this for the money. You know, there has to be something other than it's like a marriage. A marriage just can't be, you know, intimacy. It has to be something else because you know most men only last about 2 minutes. Okay, well, what are you going to do with the 23 hours and 58 minutes left in the day? You know, you have to have something unless you're you know just keep doing that all day, which is kind of impossible, especially if you get older. So there has to be more than just money as the reward. You know, and the coolest part about this for me isn't the money. Even when the money was pretty cool, you know, like I used to get money from YouTube, it was pretty neat. But that wasn't even fulfilling for me. Fulfilling for me was knowing that there was a community that was built around the United Spot for the United Spot. And the people that are in this community and are here supporting the United Spot daily, that is quite possibly the coolest thing ever. You know, there's an old story, and it's kind of a sad story, but it's a realistic story, and a lot of more people need to understand it. Is that you don't choose your parents, you don't choose your brothers and sisters or aunts and uncles, you don't even choose your kids. Unfortunately, you don't. Um, so it's kind of a hard draw. You know what I mean? It's just like you just never know what you're gonna get. You know, I'm hoping that people have a really good relationship with their families and their kids, but you don't get to pick them. That's the hard part. The people that you do get to pick, though, are your friends. You can pick your job, you know, and you guys picked the United Spot. And I think that is probably the coolest thing in the world. And like I said, I mean, I'm no Steven Spielberg, nor would I want to be. And I know I'm not pumping out anything that's changing the world. I know I'm making a few people laugh, and that makes me happy. And I'm exposing the truth in a unique kind of way. And I'm happy about that too. But what really, really makes me happy is you guys here every day supporting what I do. And that just blows me away. Like I and not too many people can understand it, you know, like people in my family, my friends, it's just another day. But for me, it's a very incredible feeling to know that you guys are here. And I hope you guys understand how thankful I am. That it's not all fun and games and it's not all, joking around as the United Spot. I truly am thankful for all of you. I appreciate all of you guys. And it just means a lot that you're here. So, and it means a lot that you've been here. Sorry to get all hallmarky on you. But what I would like to see in the upcoming months is what I spoke to you earlier about. I would like to see some accountability. Whether or not there is going to be any accountability, who's to say? I mean, has there ever been any accountability? Jussie Smollett is still a free man. I think he did about 2-3 days, and he's like, "Yeah, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. Let's check out what would happen if Tim Walz did get arrested."
Thanks for calling the White House. How can I help you?
Yeah, I need to speak with President Trump.
Who is it? Defrauded governor on line 1, boss.
This is Trump. Who's this? Hello, Mr. President. It's Tim Walz.
Tampon Tim. What do you want, you f***ing retard?
Well, I heard you were going to arrest me. Is that true?
Nah, we're not going to arrest you.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, arresting you would be a big waste of time, Timmy boy.
A big waste of time because I'm above the law, right?
Exactly. That's why we're just gonna humiliate you.
You're gonna humiliate me?
Oh, yeah.
Well, how are you gonna do that?
You want to tell him, Cash? First, we're gonna take away your mansion.
What?
Then we're gonna drain your bank account.
No, not my bank account.
And last but not least, I'm gonna make sure you never run for office again.
What?
I'm not gonna let you turn Minnesota into Scamolia.
Please give me another chance.
You want another chance?
Yeah, please.
A chance to do what? Steal more money? Commit more fraud?
No, I promise. I'll be a good boy from now on, I swear.
All right, Tim. Fraud face. First, take a big step back and literally tampon your own face. Now, I don't know what kind of Midwest socialist bullshit power play you're trying to pull here, Timmy, with your empty daycares and ghost kids, but Minnesota? Minnesota is my territory now. So whatever you're thinking, whatever scam you're still running with those misspelled leering signs and $4 million ghost centers, you better think again. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to head down there to Minneapolis myself, and I'll have Elon Musk rain down an ungodly fucking storm upon you. Did someone say dog? You're gonna have to call the fucking United Nations and get a binding resolution to keep me from trumping your whole fucking career. I'm talking scorched tampons, motherfucker. Empty daycares pulling in millions while real kids get nothing? Billions down the drain, and your Somalia fraud networks are laughing all the way to the bank. Luxury cars, and you just sat there selling fucking tampons and let it happen. I will end your fucking whole grift. I will trump you up. Cash Patel's already got the FBI swarming your state like locusts. Your little above the law act is over with. We're freezing every dime, raiding every fake center, and when we're done, the only thing left of your legacy is gonna be misspelled signs in a fucking dumpster. You hear me, tampon Tim? Yes, sir. You're I know. What did you learn today, Tim? What did you learn today, Tim? I learned that stealing from Minnesota is wrong. Right.
What did you lear today, Tim? What did you lear? Stealing from Minnesota is wrong. And I mean, in the heart of America's Midwest, where the Mississippi River winds through bustling cities and quiet farmlands, Minnesota has long been known as the land of 10,000 lakes. It's not just butter, okay? State of hardy Scandinavians, progressive policies, and a reputation for clean governance, so they say. But beneath this serene facade, a storm has been brewing for years, one that's been fueled by whispers of fraud and lies and deep-seated corruption. I think we're talking about Minnesota, but I don't know. And at the center of this storm stands two prominent Democratic figures, Governor Tim Walz and Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. And their stories intertwine through their shared political alliances, Somali community ties, and a series of explosive scandals. It paints a picture of oversight failures, okay? Personal enrichments and political maneuvering that have shaken the state to its absolute core. And this isn't just a tall tale of isolated misdeeds, but a chronicle of systematic vulnerabilities exploited on a massive scale. It's true. I mean, and it's costing taxpayers billions of dollars, and it's eroding public trust. And this, I mean, the story truly begins in early 2010. Early 2010. We're in 2026 right now, okay? And during 2010, that was during Tim Walz's tenure as a U.S. congressman before. And I don't know if any of you guys knew that Tim Walz was a congressman. I bet you didn't know. A lot of people didn't even know who Tim Walz was until Kamala Harris introduced him into this crazy, crazy world. Nobody even knew who he was unless you lived in Minnesota, But he was a congressman. And before he ascended to the governorship in 2019. Take that for what it is. 2019. Okay. So Minnesota it's home to one of the largest Somali communities, thanks to Obama. And you wonder why Ilhan Omar keeps getting elected. And it's the largest Somali community in America. And it's estimated at over 100,000 people. Okay. And it became the focal point for federal and state programs supporting immigrants and low-income families. Look at what we have here. Programs like Child Care Assistance Program, they call it CCAP, and the Federal Child and Adult Care Food Program, also known as the CACFP, for those of you who like to use letters. But they funneled millions into daycare centers and food distribution networks. I mean, genius, okay? Genius. Not legal, but and not okay by any means, but genius. I mean, some people have a hard enough time figuring out how to make money just from a 9-to-5 job, let alone funneling millions of dollars through, but many of these operated, they were operated by Somalia, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, Somali entrepreneurs. And it started as a well-intentioned initiative, but it soon, it devolved into what federal prosecutors would later call like the largest pandemic fraud in the United States. And that's documented, literally. Like the biggest. And a lot of people are wondering, like, why are they only talking about ICE now? Why are they only talking about Renee? Why are they only talking about all these people, these undocumented, these heroes that are out there? That why are they we need to abolish ICE? Why are they talking about abolishing fraud? Why are they okay? But we have Ilhan Omar. Okay, she's a Somalia American refugee who rose from from her community. She was an organizer to the state legislature in 2016, and then became a congresswoman in 2019. Along with as Tim Walz took off, she came in, and she represents the 5th district in Minnesota, which includes Minneapolis. Hint, hint. And Omar's torn. Well, her story is one of inspiration for many. I mean, she's fleeing the war, torn Somalia as a child. She became the first Somali American Muslim woman in Congress, but from it was just all lies. But from the outset, her ascent is like dogged by allegations of personal misconduct. It's like critics, including conservative watchdogs and investigative journalists, they accused her of immigration fraud. Claiming that she married her brother. But let's not get into that because that's not real news, and it's just lies. Her brother Ahmed, I think his name's Ahmed or something, or Ahmed or something. I don't know. But, in 2009, she supposedly married him to help him gain a U.S. residency, and Omar has denied this, calling it a disgusting lie. Disgusting lie. But records show they shared addresses and filed joint tax returns, raising eyebrows, potential perjury and fraud. But you know what? Hey, that's not important because she's a politician. One of my favorite lines ever was, you know what? I'm glad he got his time reduced and he was set free from prison because he's a politician. Jeez. Just crazy. But further scrutiny revealed that there were some discrepancies in her tax filings. You know what I'm saying? Including an unreported income and misuse of campaign funds for personal expenses like travel, legal fees related to her divorce. Okay, very similar to Fannie Willis. I don't know if you guys remember Fannie Willis and her Joe Biden-esque pausing guy. Went on lavish vacations, why wouldn't you though? You're getting all this free tax money. You don't know what to do with it. You're going crazy. A lot of people act weird with money. But she did she used all that money for legal fees related to her divorce from her bro. But in 2025, her husband now, which is a white man, which is strange because AOC talks so bad about white people. Don Lemon talks so bad about white people. Ilhan Omar talks so bad about white people, but they're all with white people. So I don't know. Maybe they some kind of a power trip to be with a white guy. I don't know. But in 2025, her husband, now it's not her brother anymore. I think he worked at like some Rose Capital or something. It's like an LLC or something. And they saw their value skyrocket from under $1,000. Now, pay attention. $1,000 to millions. Millions! That's plural. I don't know if you guys seen Trading Places, but Eddie Murphy said plural. That's more than one. Prompting the National Legal and Policy Center to investigate potential conflicts of interest and unexplained wealth surges. Okay, so here we are. Okay, Omar's she's solidified her position in Washington. Walz took the helm in St. Paul, and his administration emphasized equity and support for underserved communities. Expanding programs like Feeding Our Future, and which is a nonprofit task. Outrating place with distributing meals to children for the COVID-19 pandemic. But it was funded by the U.S. Department of Agriculture via Minnesota's Department of Education. Tricky. And it ballooned from a modest operation to handling hundreds of millions in federal dollars. But by around 2022, more red flags emerged. Sites claim to feed thousands of children daily in improbable locations like parking lots and abandoned buildings. And prosecutors charged 47 defendants in what they described as a $250 million scheme involving wire fraud. Okay, money laundering, bribery, you name it, they were on it. But Ilhan and Tim Walz, not a scratch, no handcuffs. And the fraud didn't stop there. I mean, it metastasized into daycare centers where the Somalia, they were Somalia run facilities, and they were allegedly billed for ghost kids. Seriously, like literally, there was no kids there, and they were siphoning up to $100 million annually. How does that happen? And then Walz's critics, including Republican lawmakers like House Majority Whip Tom Emmer, accused him of turning a blind eye. Nothing's been done about this, to be honest with you, though. I mean, there's, nothing's going to happen either. So, but state audits are dating back to 2018. Warned of lax oversight, but Walz's administration dismissed him. And by around 2025, the scandal had escalated to over $1 billion in stolen funds across human services programs, with some proceeds allegedly funneled to Al-Shabaab. I don't know if you know who that guy is. Al-Shabaab. He's a Somalia terrorist group. So, how Ilhan's always praising Somalia and the president. We're doing this for you, Dad. But over 400 Minnesotans, over 400 Minnesota Department of Human Services, okay, the employees that work there allegedly funneled. Okay, so basically the funneling that was going on, the fraud that was going on, these Minnesotans weren't necessarily turning a blind eye. They weren't like politicians. They were, Joe the plumber. They were Bill the carpenter. They were Fred the roofer. And Jill the massage therapist. They were like, wait a second, what is going on here? So these employees went public on X, claiming that Walz ignored early warnings and retaliated against whistleblowers through monitoring and threats, which I truly believe, because if you look back, it's very hard for somebody to get noticed on X or Twitter or Facebook or YouTube, unless you have, either a huge following, which still isn't going to help you, or somebody with a humongous account sharing your work. And I've always made a joke about it, but it's very serious. There's people out there that could probably have the cure for all kinds of horrible things that people have to go through, and they're never heard because nobody ever sees their accounts. So I'm sure that's what happened to all these, 400. 400 people is a lot of people posting the same exact thing, but in the end, nobody knew about it. People are just finding out about it now. And like I said, I'm not mad at Nick Shirley. I just wish that he would be a little bit more vocal about, hey, this story's been going on for a long time. And instead of him saying, I ended Tim Walz and taking all the credit, why doesn't he say, I really wish that Republicans and conservatives with big accounts would have shared this news years ago, back in 2019. I really wish they would have shared the stories that were being done by independent journalists and the media. Even CNN ran this story, congressmen, all kinds of stuff. It was all over the place, but nobody touched it. Nobody shared it. Nobody. So that's my only, you know what, man, this is, but Tim Walz, I'm sorry. And I'm not saying this as parody. I'm saying he's 100% responsible for the massive fraud in Minnesota. I mean, come on. I mean, you're the captain. You're the captain of the football team here, guy. You got to take credit where credit's due. And then Waltz obviously defended himself. Blaming Trump because you always got to blame Trump when something happens. You fall down, Trump's fault. Get in an accident, it's Trump's fault. Get fired from your job, Trump's fault. But Waltz defended himself, blaming Trump for politicizing the issue and insisting his administration had prosecuted cases, but the damage was done. So Tim Walz is basically saying that, the escalation that Trump took it to on social media wasn't necessary because Tim Walz is taking care of it. Well, how do you take care of it when you're the one that did it? Are you investigating yourself? Are you investigating Ilhan Omar? Are you guys investigating each other? But Ilhan Omar's ties to these scandals are more indirect, but no less scrutinized. She's received campaign donations from individuals later indicted in the FOF scheme. Including owners of Safari Restaurant. Look it up. Which is publicly promoted in 2020 while it was allegedly defrauding taxpayers of $16 million. Okay. And Omar, of course, she denounced federal probes as causing, confusion and chaos. Is confusion and chaos. I'm sorry, come again. She arguing that, they targeted the Somali community unfairly. She claimed any terrorism links would be an FBI failure. No local government oversight. Yet, Republicans like President Trump, linked her directly, calling her an ungrateful LOSER. And suggesting up to 90% of Minnesota's fraud stem from Somalian immigrants. Ain't that coincidental? But in 2025, 8 more individuals were charged in an $8.4 million Medicaid housing fraud, furthering more accusations. But yet, nothing happened. I've really been talking your guys' ear off because, it's just, it's a little thing I do called research, and I love doing research. It's like one of my favorite things to do at the United Spot is research because I got to find a lot of stuff out. And I really like doing research. That's like when I do my videos, I'm also learning stuff. So it's not just you guys that are learning stuff. I'm learning stuff too, which is awesome. So the sad part about it, though, is I sit here, I can name off like all the Republicans. I can name off all the Democrats. 20 years ago, I didn't even know who the vice president was 20 years ago. Well, I think I did, but I just wasn't paying attention. I mean, it's amazing if you really, really, really put your mind into researching a little bit of politics every single day, you would really see how bad this all is. And you would be a little bit more invested in telling the people around you who sit there and just idolize these politicians and these congressmen and senators and celebritizing them and making them, oh my gosh, he's so awesome. And, these people should not be making this kind of money for doing absolutely nothing. They're doing nothing for America. Nothing. So tomorrow is Monday, and it's also a holiday. So I will see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. Less than 24 hours, we're going to be talking again. And I will further my conversation on this because it needs to be said. Can't all be fun and games over here at the United Spot. But Grim Ben, have a great night. Star, have a great night. Raging Patriot, have a great night. Skippy Tarbuckle, have a great night. And Raging Patriot, have a great night. Max Meyer, have a great night. John Castaneda, thank you so much. Have a great night. Star, thank you so much for your support. Have a great night. Brian 70 Kuda, I think I said goodnight to you, but I'm going to say it again. Brian 70 Kuda, have a great night. Tammy, thank you so much for your support. Have a great night. Comet Moon, have a great night. And Jiang Pale Prime, have a great night. I hope I said that okay. Lou Maldonado, hey, it's been a while. Lou Maldonado, great to see you here tonight. Have a great night. Hope to see you again tomorrow. Os Greg, great to see you here tonight. Have a great night. Frog762 Ribbit, have a great night. And Barra, have a great night. Chris Mathers as the Beaver, have a great night. Thank you very much. I love Eddie. Eddie Murphy's my favorite. I love Eddie Murphy. He's the best. And Hank, have a great night. This is all it's showing me. If you're lurking, Robin Spielman, if you're lurking, have a great night. Annette Poison, if you're lurking, have a great night. Teacher Lynn, if you're lurking, have a great night. Yukon Man, if you're lurking, have a great night. And once again, thank you so much for your wonderful gift. You've done, it's crazy. I truly appreciate that. Thank you so much. Seriously, it means so much. And thank you all for being here tonight. And Wyatt, have a great night. And thank you for supporting the United Spot. You guys are incredible. There's no way I could ever do this without you guys. Your support is you know what I'm talking about. I say it all the time, and I know it gets a little cringy every once in a while, but you guys are a very important part of my day, and it means a lot that you're still here watching my videos and giving me a chance to better myself, so you guys can actually press play more often and want to share these silly videos out to the world. So thank you guys for being a huge part of what I do, and thank you for the support. It means so much. Timothy, have a great night, and thank you so much for being here. You guys are incredible. I love you, and have a great night tonight. Have great dreams. Have a great day tomorrow, and until we meet again. Good night, patients.